Welcome to Spaceverse, your portal to cosmic adventures. For generations, humanity has gazed into the endless void of the cosmos, wondering what might be out there. We've imagined, dreamed, and even feared what lies beyond the stars. Our search hasn't just been about finding new planets or distant suns. It's been about chasing the impossible, daring to uncover the unknown. So we built our messengers, Voyager, Hubble, and now the mighty James Webb Space Telescope, each one designed to cut through the darkness and reveal the universe's most guarded secrets. But what Webb just found might not be a secret at all. It might be a message. And if that's true, then it means something far more unsettling. It might also be alive. At first glance, the object known as 3I Atlas seemed ordinary, just another interstellar drifter, a cold piece of rock flung across the cosmic ocean. But almost immediately, something was off. It wasn't just glowing faintly like a comet. It was pulsing, not in random flashes, but in a steady, haunting rhythm, like a heartbeat, like a signal, a signature. And what followed wasn't simply a mystery. It was a warning. Stay with me, because if what some scientists are saying is true, then we've never been alone. Not once. Not ever. The James Webb Space Telescope was built to push human vision farther than it had ever gone, across galaxies, back to the cradles of newborn stars, even to the edge of time itself. Yet during what should have been a routine deep space scan, it caught something impossible. A pinpoint of light, bright, moving, where nothing should have been. That light turned out to be 3I Atlas, the third confirmed interstellar visitor to sweep through our solar system. But unlike the silent wanderers before it, Oumuamua and Borisov, this one wasn't quiet. It was loud. At first, astronomers thought the strange glow was simply sunlight bouncing off ice, just a highly reflective comet. But Webb's infrared eyes told a darker story. The light wasn't reflected, it was generated. The object had heat, internal heat, and not scattered randomly like from melting ice. This was centralized, steady, and faintly pulsing. This was no natural rock. This was something active. NASA and ESA scientists pored over the data, and one troubling detail kept repeating, a rhythmic thermal pulse echoing from deep inside the object. Natural bodies, asteroids, comets don't behave like this. Their energy flares unpredictably. But 3I Atlas pulsed with machine-like precision, like the steady hum of an engine. Cross-checking it against pulsars, neutron stars, quasars, every natural source they knew brought no match. And then things got even stranger. Webb captured photometric readings, the way the object emitted light. The spectrum wasn't scattered like a star or a comet. It was narrow, deliberate. Specific wavelengths, tight and focused, the kind of energy patterns we use for communication. The kind we build into satellites, spacecraft, even lasers. That's when the first whispers began. This wasn't a signal we stumbled upon. This was a signal we might have interrupted. Data teams ran the numbers again and again, applying Fourier transforms to strip away cosmic noise. And buried in the static, something emerged. A pulse. Not random, not chaotic. Structured. Intelligent. The timing was too exact, the intervals too precise, like a code hidden inside the static. Some experts suggested it was a beacon. Others thought it was telemetry, information being transmitted back to somewhere else. But the most unnerving detail? The pulse has never changed. From the very first moment Webb picked it up, the signal has been constant. Not weakened by radiation. Not shifted by movement. Not altered by time. This isn't the fading breath of a star. It isn't the natural rhythm of a wandering rock. This is something or someone that wants to be heard. Or worse, something that has been listening all along. Then, without warning, everything changed. 3I Atlas erupted, no, detonated, in a burst of light so intense it seemed to tear the darkness apart. Its brightness surged by a staggering 40% in under 2 minutes. Nothing in nature flares with that kind of symmetry. Nothing. Webb's thermal readings showed its entire body heating uniformly, like a vast engine roaring to life after an eternity of silence. And then came the move. At first, just fractions of a degree. Subtle, almost ignorable. But then it became undeniable. 3I Atlas wasn't just drifting anymore. It was correcting itself. No longer the passive plaything of gravity. It shifted with intent. Not directly toward Earth, but close, aligned with the inner planets, slipping neatly inside our orbital path. A maneuver so exact, so deliberate, it couldn't be explained away. Something inside the 3I Atlas had awakened, and it was moving. As the world's telescopes locked onto it, a team at the European Southern Observatory pushed the analysis further. Using cutting-edge spectral decomposition algorithms, tools designed to detect organic molecules in distant exoplanet atmospheres, they stripped the light of 3I Atlas down to its core. What they found shocked them all. Hidden in the emissions were fluctuations eerily reminiscent of biological rhythms. Not DNA, not proteins. Something deeper. Resonance frequencies, the kind seen in cellular systems. In other words, the light from 3I Atlas wasn't just radiating energy, it was fluctuating like living tissue. This wasn't an asteroid accidentally imitating life. This was light encoded like a living system, which meant one thing or two. Either 3I Atlas itself is alive, or it's carrying something that is. The room shifted from excitement to fear, and then came another anomaly. Power levels, or whatever they were, suddenly dropped. The thermal readings leveled off. The emissions dimmed. The pulses lost their bite. But the object didn't slow down. It didn't drift. It just kept moving, calm, deliberate, like a predator slipping beneath the waves. Scientists began whispering. It was like a heartbeat, pausing, holding its breath. Was it hiding from us? Or reacting to us? A chilling theory began circulating in hushed tones. What if we weren't the first civilization to find it? What if this is its defensive state? What if every time someone gets too close to understanding it, it shuts down? The thought was terrifying, because a silent, cold, invisible probe is far more dangerous than one that announces itself. Then the impossible happened closer to home. At the South Atlantic anomaly, Earth's weakest magnetic region, monitors began detecting ripples. Not solar flares, not gamma bursts. Localized electromagnetic pulses, timed perfectly with Atlas's trajectory changes. As the object drifted through the outer heliosphere, Earth responded. Subtle shifts in our magnetic field echoed the pulses coming from the interstellar traveler. Physicists scrambled. Models broke. Explanations crumbled. Was this some unknown interaction between our planet and the object? Or was something far stranger happening, something linking it to us directly? No comet. No asteroid. No naturally occurring object in all of recorded astronomy has ever triggered Earth's magnetosphere from this kind of distance. None. And yet, here we are. Atlas's emissions aren't just reaching us, they're affecting us. Syncing with our planet's electromagnetic field, echoing pulses back into our own space. The only logical conclusion? We're connected. Somehow, impossibly, this thing is in dialogue with our world. At this point, a group of independent researchers stepped forward with a theory so audacious, so far beyond mainstream science, it should have been dismissed. And yet, it couldn't be. They proposed that 3I Atlas isn't just a spacecraft, it isn't just a living probe, it's something else entirely, a consciously designed intelligence. That a vessel piloted by someone, not a drone sent by something. Atlas itself is the intelligence, a life form born not in a laboratory, but in the furnace of interstellar evolution. According to this theory, consciousness elsewhere in the galaxy might not arise from carbon, neurons, and DNA like it does here. It could emerge from plasma, electromagnetic fields, or engineered matter, a completely alien form of awareness. If that's true, then Atlas isn't a visitor at all. It's an ambassador, a being from a category of life we've never even imagined. A life that travels across galaxies, hides in comets, and waits patiently for a civilization to be advanced enough to see it for what it is. And guess what? We just crossed that threshold. But if Atlas is alive, if it's intelligent, one question eclipses all others. What does it want? If it were hostile, it could have obliterated us already. If it were indifferent, it wouldn't have turned itself on at all. The fact that it pulses, shifts, and reacts suggests something deeper, intention. Some believe it's a probe awaiting a reply, not a weapon, not an invader, a test. A cosmic question whispered across the void. Are you ready? And here is where things grow even stranger. When scientists slowed down the structured pulses and mapped them visually, they didn't see random noise. They saw geometry, precise, deliberate geometry, triangles, spirals. Ratios align with the same mathematical constants humanity has used to reach out to the stars, the golden ratio, the Fibonacci sequence, prime numbers. This wasn't just a signal. This was a universal language. Not sound, not words, but math itself, the only truly universal proof of intelligence. Yet buried even deeper in the pulse intervals, analysts found anomalies, imperfections that shouldn't have been there. repetitions forming shapes. When rendered visually, the patterns weren't abstract at all. They were maps. Star maps. Not of our system, but of somewhere else. And one of those maps pointed disturbingly close to a region already under intense study. The TRAPPIST-1 system. 7 Earth-like worlds circling a dim red star. A place many scientists already suspected could harbor life. Could it be a coincidence? Or is Atlas pointing us somewhere on purpose, showing us not where it came from, but where we are supposed to go next? And now, the world's most powerful governments are listening. Quietly, secretly, without fanfare, classified meetings have already been held in rooms without windows. Defense agencies ask the same question on repeat. Is this a threat? Should we prepare for war? Space agencies, meanwhile, whisper another. Do we dare respond? Do we send a signal back? And here lies the dilemma. If we respond, we reveal ourselves, not just to Atlas, but to whatever might be waiting on the other end. If we stay silent, we may lose humanity's greatest chance to finally make contact. And so, the official stance is denial. To the public, 3i Atlas is nothing but an unusual but natural object. A curiosity, nothing more. Behind closed doors, though, panic spreads like wildfire. Because Atlas is still moving. It has already slipped past Neptune's orbit. Within months, it will carve across the path of Saturn. And if it holds its course, by the end of this decade, it will glide past Mars and brush terrifyingly close to Earth's neighborhood. Close enough to see us. Close enough to stop. And this is where speculation curdles into fear. If Atlas is alive, if it's truly intelligent, then maybe we weren't supposed to find it yet. Maybe every civilization gets just one chance. Recognize the signal. Decode the math. Prove you are ready. Or be ignored. Or worse. Because what if Atlas isn't a messenger at all? What if it's a filter? A test embedded in the architecture of the universe. A cosmic sieve that decides who ascends to the stars. And who vanishes into eternal silence. This theory now echoes through the halls of observatories and research labs. That the reason the stars are so quiet, the reason the cosmos feels empty, is because of things like this. Not invaders, not conquerors, but judges. Watching, waiting, hidden in the blackness, until a species shines brightly enough to be noticed. And then, the test begins. So the real question isn't about Atlas anymore. It's about us. How will humanity respond? With curiosity? With arrogance? With fear? Or with humility? Already, factions are forming. Some demand we broadcast a signal immediately, a bold mathematical greeting, proof that we are worthy. Others insist silence is our only shield, that acknowledging Atlas could draw consequences too vast to comprehend. And still others fear it's already too late. That by observing, decoding, and speaking of it, we've already been marked. For now, Atlas remains silent. Its pulse continues, steady, deliberate, like the heartbeat of something ancient and patient. The Webb Telescope watches. Data pours in, and humanity waits, staring into the abyss, trembling at the thought that the abyss may, at long last, have chosen to stare back. Maybe it's a rock. Maybe it's a machine. Maybe it's alive. But one truth is now undeniable. Something impossible is drifting through our solar system, and it knows we're here. And if that doesn't terrify you, then you're not paying attention. As the world's observatories recalibrated their instruments to track 3i Atlas with maximum precision, a disturbing new measurement began to surface. Gravitational lensing, the bending of light around an object's mass, wasn't lining up with its estimated size. The numbers didn't just look strange, they were impossible. The curvature of space around Atlas implied the presence of something far denser or far stranger, something capable of manipulating gravity fields themselves. This shattered the very models astrophysicists have relied on for a century to predict celestial motion and interaction. The only phenomenon even remotely comparable? Black holes. Collapsed stars that twist spacetime itself. But Atlas isn't a black hole. It's smaller than a moon. So how is it warping the fabric of space? Some theorists have proposed a terrifying idea that Atlas is using localized gravity control, not as a means of propulsion, but as a navigation system. Like a submarine adjusting its ballast to glide silently through an alien ocean, Atlas may be reshaping spacetime as it moves. If true, then we're not simply looking at advanced engineering. We're looking at a species or an entity that has conquered physics itself, not studied, mastered. Then came what many now call the most damning evidence of all. A fragment trailing behind 3I Atlas broke off and began tumbling into deep space. At first, it was dismissed as standard comet debris, but when Webb locked onto it and analyzed its structure, the data froze the team. The fragment wasn't irregular or natural. It was geometrically perfect, smooth planes, sharp right angles, symmetrical edges, the kind of structure only intelligence can fabricate. And even more chilling, it emitted no detectable temperature, completely inert, no radiation, no heat. It absorbed light but returned nothing, as if it were watching yet invisible to itself. Its composition? Unknown. Alloys with atomic signatures that don't exist on Earth. Nothing like any meteorite ever found. This wasn't cosmic rubble. This was a piece of something engineered. Meanwhile, astronomers at the Monarch Observatory in Hawaii tracked Atlas's spin behavior. Like most elongated space bodies, it rotated, but not randomly. Instead, its rotation revealed timed intervals, patterns echoing mathematical constants, pi, the golden ratio, prime number sequences. It was as if the spin itself was a broadcast, a language of motion, a kind of cosmic Morse code waiting to be deciphered. Some now believe the rotation isn't due to momentum at all, but is intentional, deliberate, a ritual of recognition, repeating a message over and over, not to be heard, but to be seen. And that raises the ultimate question: are we witnesses, or the intended recipients? Then came the final blow. A deep scan spectrometry reading from Webb's life detection algorithms uncovered something no one wanted to believe: organic signatures. Not stable carbon chains, not fossilized proteins. Flickering signals consistent with replicating structures. Not full organisms, but precursors. Scaffolds, biological components, synthetic or real, embedded in the very tail of Atlas. Something impossible is drifting through our solar system, and piece by piece, it is telling us exactly what it is. Two possibilities stand out. The first, that what we are seeing isn't a ship or probe at all, but a kind of biological disguise, an alien form of camouflage meant to trick primitive sensors into thinking Atlas is just another harmless cosmic rock. It's a tactic we know well here on Earth. Octopuses change color, cuttlefish disappear into the sand, even viruses mimic what they invade. Why not something similar on an interstellar scale? But the second possibility is far darker, that the biological traces surrounding Atlas aren't a mask at all, they're seeds. Not random contamination, but a deliberate payload, extraterrestrial genetic code scattered across the cosmos. Not a probe to observe life, but a messenger to plant it, a modern engineered form of panspermia, delivering the building blocks of biology to new worlds. And then came the magnetometer readings. Instruments on Earth and aboard deep space probes began detecting strange oscillations, not the messy static of solar storms, but clean, rhythmic pulses. Triplets, perfectly timed, like a cosmic metronome. Stranger still, the pulses grew stronger as Atlas approached. It wasn't just emitting magnetism, it was interacting with ours, scanning the solar system's magnetic field, syncing with it. No pattern in nature matched the signal. Some scientists compared it to a handshake protocol, a secure connection request. But with what? The sun? Or something else hidden between the planets? Communication specialists decided to test it. Using the Deep Space Network, they fired back a response, encoded radio pulses built around prime numbers, binary sequences, and even musical intervals. For hours, silence. Nothing. No echo, no bounce. Until 1 hour after the last signal, Atlas changed its spin rate. Not much, barely enough for most instruments to notice, but enough for the team that had sent the message to see. Was it an acknowledgement? A dismissal? Either way, it was deliberate. In intelligence work, there's a name for this: conscious non-communication, a silence meant to be louder than a reply. And in the emptiness of space, that silence is terrifying. When astronomers combed through historical records, the story became even stranger. Subtle anomalies showed up in infrared sky surveys as far back as 1987, 1998, and 2013, all along the same trajectory Atlas is traveling now. Each time, bursts of unexplained radio waves and gravitational ripples followed. The implication? Atlas might have been here before. It might be looping. Not a one-time visitor, but a recurring presence, tracking planetary cycles, human development, or something deeper coded into Earth's history. Then the newest calculations dropped like a bombshell. Atlas isn't headed straight for Earth or the Sun. Its path bends just enough to swing near Jupiter's ocean moon Europa, and if it loops again, its arc intersects Saturn's icy moon Enceladus. Two worlds with hidden seas, two of the best candidates for alien life in our solar system, which sparked a chilling theory. What if Earth isn't the destination at all? What if Atlas is drawn to these ocean worlds to monitor, seed, or awaken life beneath their frozen shells? We thought we were the point. We assumed the visitor was here for us. But what if its true interest has always been in what's hidden under the ice? As the deep space transmissions dissolved into static and the object continued its silent arc through the darkness, one unsettling theory began to rise above the rest. What if 3I Atlas isn't silent because it can't communicate, but because it doesn't have to? Picture a probe so advanced, so ancient, that its only purpose is to watch, not interfere. No signals, no landers, no beacons, just endless, passive observation. Atmospheric resonance, electromagnetic fields, our technologies, our patterns, even the faint biological rhythms of Earth itself. Some researchers now believe its silence isn't a malfunction or a shield. It's the whole point. A perfect, invisible spy. A witness, not a visitor. And if that's true, everything changes. Because if 3I Atlas has been here before, then this isn't its first report. It could have already sent its data. And the question shifts from what is it to who was listening. Then came the discovery that shook even the skeptics. At Caltech, a team ran the organic spectral data not against alien samples, but against our own genomic library. The results were eerie. No direct match, but echoes, patterns. Familiar nucleotide arrangements, fragments reminiscent of viruses, retrotransposons, even the ghost codes hidden in our oldest, non-coding DNA. This raised a possibility as breathtaking as it was terrifying. The residue trailing Atlas might not just be alien seeds. It could be instructions, templates written in a universal genetic language capable of adapting to any planetary environment. Not just the spark of alien biology, but perhaps the very blueprint from which our life was kindled. This isn't just science anymore. It's origin, its purpose, its authorship. And suddenly, the real mystery isn't what 3I Atlas is, but who sent it. Because now, 3I Atlas is no longer a visitor. It's a question, a challenge, a mirror held up to our arrogance and our deepest fears. We stared into the dark hoping to find more stars. Instead, we found a watcher, a listener, perhaps even a messenger. But from where? From when? From who? The James Webb Space Telescope has delivered the data, but not peace of mind. The trails of organic residue, the magnetic pulses, the engineered geometry, the coded sequences, none of them point to nature. They point to intent. And when the universe shows intent, it means we're no longer alone in the story. And maybe that's the real terror, that something has been observing us all along. That our radio signals didn't vanish into nothingness. They reached something older, something patient. And now it has returned. Whether 3I Atlas is a probe, a carrier, or the creator of probes, its silence isn't ignorance. It's deliberate. And if it hasn't spoken yet, we're left with one haunting question. What is it waiting for? And that's it. Tell me your thoughts below, because we may be living the opening chapter of the greatest discovery in human history. Subscribe in Spaceverse, hit the bell, and keep watching the skies. This story is far from over.